All right, and then this last one here, this is going to be 5 times the square root of negative 1, square root of 75. Square root of 75, that one breaks up into a 25 and a 3. So this is going to be 5i times the square root of 3 times the square root of 25. The square root of 25 is 5, and 5 times 5 is 25i root 3. Okay, these are some of my favorite types of questions here. And it says, find the values of x and y that satisfy the equation. So what we have to do is we have to set the real parts equal to the real parts and the non-real parts, or the complex parts, equal to the complex parts. So negative 10x equals 30. That means that x is equal to negative 3. And then for here, we have I is equal to negative yi. Divide by I. And that leaves you with 1 equals negative y. And then divide by negative, negative 1 equals y. And that is it. Those are the solutions. Okay, over here, same deal. We're going to connect the real ones with the real, and then we're going to connect the complex ones with the complex. So 44 equals negative 1/4 x, multiply by negative 4, and then 44 times negative 4 should be negative 176 equals x. Okay, and then for our other side here, with our complex parts, negative 1/2 yi equals negative 7i. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and divide by I, so that's 1/2 y equals negative 7, and then multiply by a positive, or by a negative 2, so this will be y equals 14. Perfect. Okay, over here, remember that we add the real parts and then add their imaginary parts. Okay? So adding my two real parts is negative 8 minus 1. Okay? And that is going to be negative 9. And then adding my imaginary parts is 3i minus 2i, which is positive 1i. And that is the solution. Okay. Same thing here, but instead of adding them, we're just going to go ahead and subtract them. Okay. But here is the deal. Some students prefer to distribute the negative so that they remember that it's subtraction. So, do my reals. So that's 36 minus 12, which is 24. And then we also have negative 3i minus 24i, and that is negative 27i. And that is it for that one. Okay. Down here, same thing, but adding again this time. So 16 minus 16, and that is 0. So I'm not going to write that one. And then we have I minus 8i, which is negative 7i. Okay. Subtraction once more. So remember that some students like to distribute this. If you would like to distribute it, it's totally okay. So my reals, so negative 5 minus negative 6. Okay. That is 1. And then we're going to go ahead in with our imaginary now. So negative 5i minus negative 6i. So negative 5 plus 6 is going to be positive 1. So positive I here. Go ahead and box that up. All right. When we multiply, we're going to go ahead and FOIL. So it should look something like this. Okay. So negative 1 times 15 is negative 15. Negative 1 times I is positive I. 9 times 15, that is a big one. that 9i times 15 is positive 135i, and then 9i times negative I is negative I squared. Or sorry, negative 9i squared. And remember that the square root, the square of I, so let me write this here, I squared is the same thing as negative 1, because that is the square, like that. Okay? So let's go ahead and write this out. So when we combine our like terms, this will be negative 15 plus 136i plus 9, because negative 9 times negative 1 is positive 9. Add 15, or add that to negative 15. That's negative 6 plus 136i. And that is it for that one. Over here, we're going to FOIL once more. This one, we have a very special situation here. If we have a plus b, right? Here, let me write this directly underneath so you can see which terms I'm talking about. A plus b and a minus b. Okay? That is going to look like this. So we have a squared minus b squared. Okay? So I'm just going to do that. My a is 13, so that is 13 squared minus b squared, which is I squared, and we know that that is negative 1, right? So we have 160 plus, oh, did I do that wrong? Yep, that's supposed to be 169. That's my bad. Plus, oops, let me do it like this. Let me make sure I put all the right numbers in the right spots here. 169 minus negative 1, which is 170. Now this formula here is super, super, super important, right? This is called the difference of two squares. You should recall this from Algebra 1. We're going to go ahead and skip 15, but we are going to talk about solving each of these equations. Okay? So I'm going to solve the first one with square roots. So I'm going to do negative 5x squared equals 25. Divide by negative 5, x squared equals negative 5. Take the square root. That is x equals the square root of negative 5. And to simplify, you get I root 5. Okay, now this one's going to be plus or minus because we weren't able to take the square root of the 5. Just like that. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. I want plus or minuses for all of these here. Add 18, so we have x squared minus 10 plus 18. I'm actually going to do this the other way now that I see that the 10's not connected to anything. So x squared equals negative 18 minus 10. So x squared equals negative 28. Oh, wait, add. I'm silly. There we go. Negative 8. Square root is x equals I root 8. Okay, but we can take the square root of 8 here, and that would be 4 times 2. Just 2 root 2. So plus or minus 2I root 2. So simplifying square roots shouldn't be too difficult, especially because they come from some previous classes. The only new thing that we've added is the imaginary I. Ooh, this one's fun. This one's fractions, but remember, fractions are not scary. Let's go ahead and make sure that these all have the same denominator here. So I'm going to multiply this first one by 5, and then I'm going to multiply this next one by 3 on both sides. I'm going to multiply by 5 once more. Okay? So this will give me negative 5 over 15, x squared, equals 3 over 15, plus 20 over 15 x squared. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 20 over 15 to the other side. So that's negative 25 over 15 x squared equals 3/15. I'm going to multiply by 15 to both sides, so that's negative 25 x squared equals 3. And keep going over on this side. Divide by negative 25. So this is going to give me x squared equals negative 3 over 25. Then I'm going to go ahead and take the square root. So this is going to be x equals the square root of negative 3 over 25. I can take my I out, 3 over 25. And then we're going to go ahead and bring this radical up to the numerator and the denominator via our exponent rules. So I think I said skip that one. Yes, I can write in this area. So x equals I square root of 3 over the square root of 25. And the square root of 25, drum roll please, is 5. So x equals 5, plus or minus I root 3 over 5. No rationalizing needed, which was very nice. Okay. 3.3, completing the square. Remember, completing the square is how we get the quadratic formula. First 2 pages are extra credit. Make sure you use your textbook to go ahead and fill in this vocab here, and then take a look at what needs to be done. So we're going to go ahead and go through this, but when we complete the square, we're adding a term, this term specifically, to go ahead and complete our square. So to make this rectangle here a square. Okay.